No, I did not get around to catching the game. Saturday night, I got dragged out into Colorado Springs. So this tonight will be mostly you. I think I don't have much. I saw it was a 0-0 game, right?
Yes, it was a scoreless draw, which for playing in Salt Lake, not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think we talked about in the last episode that we had lost 10 of our last 11 games in Salt Lake. So taking not a loss is fairly good here.
Yeah.
The record stays tied now at 16, 9, and 16 against Salt Lake in total. The game itself, it was a fairly entertaining 0-0 draw. I'm just going to kind of go on a monologue here.
Go for it.
So we've been having a lot of injury issues recently. Christian Roldan is still out. His concussion protocol is taking longer than expected. Raul Ruiz still has his I don't know if he tore his hamstring or stretched his hamstring, but he's still out for a few weeks. And Nuhu is out because they're saying he caught a cold. Yeah. Coach Brian was asked if it was COVID, and he said he can't say. So I don't know. That's all we know about Nuhu.
So
he caught a cold, so he's
might be COVID.
Might be COVID. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's just something. They said they're letting him have his bed rest, which is good.
Yeah.
So hopefully he gets back soon, because during this game, his replacement Kellen Rowe, who has been playing a few games, I think he seems to be like an MLS lifer. I think he played recently his 350th game in the MLS, which is fairly high for the MLS to play that many games. And at the very end of the game, in a foul that would eventually give Pablo Ruiz of the RSL a second yellow card and an ejection, he tore not his ACL but his ADL, which is it's a different ligament kind of in the same area.
It's like I know it.
Yeah. So that's the bad news, is that he's out for a few weeks. The good news is it's not an ACL tear. But he's still going to be out for like 6 or so weeks. But all I know is that he's not out for as long as most injuries in that area would be for. But he's still going to be out for a few weeks, which puts a lot of strain on our defensive depth, because we don't have Nuhu.
Mm-hmm.
We've been replacing Nuhu with Kellen Rowe. Now Kellen Rowe's out. So, it's difficult to know where to go from here. We may have to start picking up some guys from Tacoma Defiance to fill in that.
Woo, Tacoma.
Let's go Tacoma. Besides that, the refereeing in this game, there were a lot of yellow cards thrown around. Like a lot. I counted. There were 9 yellow cards in this one game. But most of them, I don't think they deserve to be yellow cards, especially the early ones. It seemed at the very beginning, like obviously I'm rooting for Seattle, but a couple of the yellow cards that got sent RSL's way, especially towards the beginning, seemed pretty like they didn't seem like yellow cards to me, at least, right? Yeah, and there were 2 back-to-back. The first yellow card went, of course, to João Paulo, because he has to get a yellow card in every game he plays, basically.
I mean, I would get a yellow card if I was playing on field with him, so.
What does that mean?
I don't. Just think about it. As a thinker.
Gosh. Yeah, I'll think about it later. But yeah, I mean, it was a fairly even game. It felt like Seattle was more in control for most of the game.
Mm-hmm.
We had Japalo and Rusnak, who are as our midfield duo. They've been doing well. We had Hebert up front because Christian Roldan is still out, and so we had Jordan Morris and Leo Chu kind of playing support. You have Lodero as well. But looking at the stats a little bit, like it seemed like for the most part, Seattle kind of had the advantage. But like RSL had some really, really good chances. Seattle had more possession, but when RSL got the ball, they would usually go down and take a shot. RSL had 15 shots and 3 shots on goal, whereas Seattle only made 12 shots and one of those shots was on goal. But then again, when you have Stephen Fry in goal, it's not too difficult to take a lot of shots and still, keep a clean sheet. He made 3 saves this game. And I believe he is in contention for he is coming up on, I believe, third most shutouts by a single goalkeeper in MLS history, if I'm not mistaken. He is trying to get there. And honestly, I could see him getting a new personal best for shutouts in a season, depending on how the season goes. But we'll see. He'll need some help from the defense on that.
I mean, it sounded like a good game. Sounds like I missed out, even though it was a 0-0 game.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the 0-0 games can be the most exciting. But here's the positive. It was a draw, but St. Louis lost.
Oh.
And also, LAFC didn't play this weekend because they were too busy beating up Philadelphia in the Champions League. So, as of right now, Seattle tops the Western Conference with 20 points, thanks to that draw. Yeah, so we've got 20. St. Louis has 19, and LAFC has 18, but they also have 2 games in hand. So, if they win those 2 games, that means nothing. But, if they lose those 2 games, we're pretty good. We're looking pretty good.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
What does the rest of May look like for Sounders games?
The rest of May, yes. So, new month, might as well look over what's happening this month. It's a fairly big month for Seattle because we're starting to play some regular season games in the midweek.
Oh.
Right? So, this coming Sunday, actually, not on Saturday, but Sunday around noon, Seattle is going to be hosting Sporting Kansas City for their second game. If you remember last time, we went to Sporting KC.
Yeah, Sporting KC has got a really hot team. Remember that?
Yeah. Unfortunately, they also have a really bad team because they currently have 0 wins from 10 games. They have only scored 3 goals so far this season, and they have let in 15, which is good enough for a goal difference of -12, which is historically bad. They've just not been having a good time, and I almost feel partially I don't feel partially responsible, but as a Seattle fan, I feel partially responsible because we did score 4 on them that one time. But yeah, Kansas City are I think the worst. Yeah, I'd say they lost to Montreal, so they are the worst team in MLS right now.
Damn. That's so sad.
So, it's rough. They only have 3 points.
They're too busy being pretty and shit.
Yeah, they're too busy being hot as hell to win soccer games. So I don't know. Hopefully we do well. I think we will. I mean, we beat them last time. But I don't know. You never know in MLS. Like Sporting Kansas City could win 5-0 and then, win every game for the rest of the season and set a points record or something. I don't know. But from what we've seen, if the past predicts the future, Seattle should be winning this weekend. And then for the rest of May, on the 10th, we have the Open Cup game in Los Angeles against the Galaxy.
Ooh.
Big stakes for that. That's going to be around a 32 games, so, I'm hoping for the best. Then 3 days later, we are going to Houston to play the Dynamo, who've been having a fairly good season. Then on the 17th, we are hosting Austin FC, who are not having a great season. Then we are off to Vancouver on the 20th, our second Cascadia Cup game, so let's kick their butts. Then on the 27th, we're hosting the New York Red Bulls, and on the 31st, we're hosting San Jose Earthquakes. So that's our May.
And then Portland is coming here June 3rd or whatever.
June 3rd. Yep. We will be hosting Portland on June 3rd, and yeah. June is going to be a lighter month for MLS just because there's an international window during that time. And yeah, so I believe it's a Nations League window as well. So that's going to be all hands on deck for that, I think.
Okay.
And then yeah. And then we get to the summer, and then we're kind of then by the halfway point we'll kind of know what's going on. I feel like we're doing well though so far. We're getting 2 points a game on average, which is nice.
Besides that Portland loss, we're doing all right.
Yep.
No major losses yet, right? Besides that one.
No. Yeah, we lost to Portland in Portland, and then we had a 1-0 loss in Cincinnati, but Cincinnati's having an incredibly crazy season right now. And the funny thing is their coach doesn't even think they're playing well, yet they have 21 points. So I don't know if I'd count them out really. So if those are the only two losses we have so far, that feels okay. Just a Cincinnati loss that it's going to happen, and then a Portland loss that just seems
it defies all logic.
It seems like an act of God.
Yeah,
that lost to Portland. We got 6 wins and 2 losses, 2 ties.
We briefly entered an alternate dimension where Portland is good at soccer and Seattle's bad.
Exactly. Yeah, weird how that happens. You just suddenly you're in a different universe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but hopefully we will. Yeah, let's. Just, I don't know. You got me feeling sad about that loss again. Okay.
Sorry.
Hopefully we score 5 goals on Kansas City. I'll feel slightly happier.
Yeah, for sure.
Not for Kansas City, but for myself.
We'll destroy Kansas City.
Let's kick their butts. If we don't, I'm gonna be kind of annoyed because we've done it before. This shouldn't be difficult. They're already on the floor.
Yeah.
You can't take pity on them.
They just need a tenth of the energy we have right now.
Yeah, I want them to be good, but just not against us, right? You can have your turnaround next week. This week you have to lose. Yeah. Well, hey, if you miss the one this Saturday, we have 2 games next week. So that's the other thing we have. So assuming we talk again on Friday, then we'll also be recapping the Galaxy game for the Open Cup.
Wait, when is the Kansas City game?
So the Kansas City game is Sunday at 1:30.
I swear to God, I heard you say Saturday, and it's oh wait, it's Saturday?
No.
God damn it.
Yeah. And then this coming Wednesday, the 10th, at 7:30 p.m. is the Open Cup game against the LA Galaxy.
Cool.
So that's what's coming up.
Cool. I'll definitely catch that one.
Yeah, I believe I will be able to as well.
I mean, I didn't have much to say, obviously. So that's probably why it's shorter.
Yeah. Well, we'll have and there was only one game to talk about as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like the other weeks, we've had like 2 games, or we had Portland to whine about.
Now you've taken us back there.
I know. I gotta stop.
Okay.
It's in the past. Doesn't matter. Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for listening to this week's Evergreen Soccer Podcast.
Woo.
Woo. We'll be back next week to talk about Kansas City and
The Galaxy.
probably the LA Galaxy. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, have a good weekend.